Hello. The British, as a rule, aren't demonstrators. Getting Brits out on the street in crowds for demos of any sort is very difficult, or at least up till recently has been very difficult. But of late, more and more things have been happening that have brought people out on the streets. First of all, there's the trans issue, which here you see, again, read a view of a Scottish newspaper about protesters on both sides of the gender recognition reform debate gathered in Glasgow city centre on Sunday. And Posey Parker was giving a speech there, and on the other side there were a bunch of trans activists, one of them in a very colourful sort of Joker costume. And then here we have a bunch of people in Torquay who are demonstrating about the Torquay Council's attempts to turn Torquay into a 15-minute city. You can see here nice picture of Torquay, what looks like Torquay in the rain, with a traffic jam there. And so instead of better traffic control or encouragements for one thing or another, they're just going to block off various parts of the city, so you have restricted ability to drive there. And let's see, what else do we have here? There are some boroughs now who are fighting the Mayor of London's attempts to enforce an ultra-low emissions zone across the whole of the London metropolitan area, all the way out to the M25, I think. And Sadiq Khan had to warn them that he's going to be very, very cross with them if they don't toe the line. Now, this is a lot of rebellious behaviour, which was not characteristic of the British way of doing things at all until very recently. We might say it was sparked by the COVID restrictions, which were imposed arbitrarily and very often unfairly by various councils, and not only unfairly but in many cases illogically and beyond the remit that they'd been given. So people got, I suppose, warned by that. But I don't think it was just the COVID thing that caused this rush of rebellion. I think it's been coming for a long time. And it's been coming because a lot of people have started to realise that the governments that they have been electing are not sticking to their manifestos in the way that we think they did before. So therefore, if the Labour Party got elected in the 1960s with the manifesto that they were going to nationalise steel, we all knew that's what we'd be voting for. They didn't get voted on the manifesto that everything was going to be buttercups and strawberries and cream for everybody. And then when they got in power, they nationalised steel. That wasn't the way it was done. But now what happens is you vote for a government, and you vote them in on certain assumptions of their policies, and then when they get into power, the policies are completely different. So we're getting a lot of councils who are telling people they can't drive from one place to the other, although it was never the case that they had actually, that their voters had actually been warned of this when the council elections came through. And people were looking at years of suffering before they could vote these guys out of power. But even if, for instance, there was the rot in London started with the congestion zone idea, which was pushed in by a Labour mayor. And I am Granniopteryx, interrupting myself to tell you I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I let you know when I've uploaded a new video on Twitter, Gab and Parler. I have to do that because especially YouTube don't tell people when I've uploaded new videos. Well, they do sometimes. It's a bit hit and miss. Also, I want to ask you to like this video, which helps the algorithm. You may have noticed that my subscriber numbers have dropped quite catastrophically in the last couple of weeks, far more than you would have expected. And I think my channel is being interfered with by YouTube again. I don't think I'm being paranoid, of course. Who does? But I don't think I'm being paranoid, because there are other bigger fish than me complaining of the same thing. Anyway, if you subscribe to my at granniopteryx, then you'll get to know when I've uploaded a new video. If you subscribe to my channel, just keep checking your subscription to make sure that it hasn't been dropped. Okay, yeah. And you can also help my channel financially. Buy me a coffee, one of the other links below. Thank you very much to all those who've been so generous with me over the past couple of unmonetized videos that I've had to put up, because I wanted to talk about something, but I knew that YouTube would certainly not allow me to put advertising on it. All right, back to the rebellions. It was Ken Livingstone, of course. And the point is that nobody actually came out and demonstrated against it. Ken Livingstone was voted in, and he wasn't voted in on a congestion charge ticket. He just decided that when he was in power, and having got into power, he decided on this. This whole area, if you went in there from any other area of London, you had to pay a congestion charge. So, of course, I never drove into London thereafter, and I stopped going to the shops, especially around Christmas time. I drive into London and we'd go take the kids to Selfridges. And I'd park in the Selfridges car park, and then we'd go and see Father Christmas there. And then I'd do some shopping. Well, I stopped all of that as soon as the congestion zone came in. I wasn't going to give Ken Livingstone my money. So, but there was no kickback on it. So people became accustomed to the idea of the mayor suddenly, out of the blue, deciding that that was going to happen. And because London is a Labour fiefdom, especially that bit, Ken Livingstone kept getting voted in, even though there were Conservative candidates for the mayor who said they were going to get rid of the congestion zone as soon as they got in. But nobody was doing that. People in that area were supporting the mayor because they just voted Labour. And that's when it started, when it became obvious that the British people were going to let the government do whatever they wanted because they were habit voters. Well, that's stopping now, but it's stopping in a sort of traumatic way. It's like an elastic band just snapping back into place. People have finally lost patience, and now we're getting people going out on the streets and demonstrating. Now, this is not good. We shouldn't be having government by demonstration. It's a bad sign. I have no satisfaction in seeing this whatsoever. But it is happening. And unless governments start doing what they said they were doing and standing for what they say they're standing for, then we are going to have more of these. Now, here we have The Guardian. Of course, The Guardian will say these people are far right. But what they are is they are people who are losing patience. They feel they have no vote. They feel that whomever they vote for, it's not going to help. Because the people they vote for are going to do what they want anyway. They will say A when they're standing for election, and then they'll do Z when they're actually in power. So the only answer is, peasants with pitchforks. And Posey Parker at this demonstration here in Glasgow, they are there because they feel like in their case, the Scottish government is not listening to them, is in some sort of a perpetual state of contradiction. Now, a lot of these people at that the rally will have voted for the Scottish National Party. And because they wanted Scottish nationalism. And then they discovered that the party they voted for was not as interested in Scottish nationalism as in weird side issues that they felt were dangerous and led the wrong way. Well, you know, this is going to carry on happening, as with the 15-minute neighbourhoods and all the other stuff like that. So what we are basically seeing here is a breakdown of democracy. People have lost. I want to say I'm not saying are losing. I am saying have lost faith in the idea that you get a party, has a manifesto, it's going to do what it does if it gets voted into power, you vote for it, and then they do what they say they're going to do. That doesn't happen anymore. And until we can sort that out, then the situation is just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. All right, well, that's my thought on the sudden rebellions breaking out all over the country. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.